Hi, I'm joined today by Professor Brendan Cropley, who's one of the panellists on our social media harassment panel. I just want to start off by asking how you went into sports psychology and sports coaching.
Oh wow! I was an ex-player. Thought I was going to play football for the rest of my life, and then quite quickly realised that I wasn't. And I think one of the issues that I had was I struggled with the psychological side of the game. So I sort of left the sport, went to university. I did a sports science degree. And as part of that, you learn about the main sports sciences, physiology, biomechanics and psychology. And the psychology stuff really resonated with me. It helped me to make sense of my previous performance experiences. So that really got me into it. And then when I went on to do my masters, I met some really inspirational staff at the university that I was studying at. They really turned me on to sports psychology even more. And they offered me the opportunity to train as a psychologist then. So that's kind of how I got into psychology. In terms of the coaching, there was always a natural fit as an ex-player to move into the coaching realms. And when I was doing my undergraduate, we had the opportunity to do our qualifications. So I did. It's just an opportunity to make some more money coaching, but I think it also helped me to understand the game better and start to develop a body of knowledge that would help me to link the psychology and coaching and performance more widely.
Cool, so you spoke about being an ex-player. Obviously you put your whole life into playing football. How did you adapt from realising you weren't quite going to be able to make it and then going into a psychology career instead?
Yeah, so the transition wasn't too bad. I was always quite good academically, and the club that I was at actually kind of tried to promote that. They were like, if you're good academically, get your qualifications, because the likelihood is that not everyone's going to make it, right? And my first year at the club, I was terrible. So I kind of had an inkling that things were going to go a bit pear-shaped anyway. So I kind of understood in myself, I was pretty self-aware, I was pretty realistic about my opportunities. I played in goal, and we had a big roster of goalkeepers who were unbelievable as well. So I was already punching above my weight a little bit. So the transition wasn't actually too bad. I think it's probably only when you get a bit older that you start to look back and reflect, and you kind of wish you'd done this or wish I'd done that. But I had an incredible time playing at that level of football, and certainly coming out and playing non-league football and that sort of stuff's been really great.
So with your psychology background, what advice would you give to young players who have just been dropped by their club or just realised they're not going to quite make it and currently struggling? How would you advise them to push through?
Yeah, I would say just be aware of who you are as an individual. Don't wrap your whole identity up in your occupation essentially, which is what they're trying to do. They're trying to be professional footballers, right? Try to have an identity outside of that. Be aware of who you are, what you like, what you dislike. When you're a young sports person, you tend to go along a lot with the majority. So figure those things out. Figure out what makes you happy. I think that's really, really important. I don't think that we do that enough. I think we figure out those things that make us unhappy and we try to avoid them. Figure out what makes you happy and go after those factors. And I'd also say utilise the experiences that you have within the game to help you to become more robust moving forwards. Think about the life skills that you've developed through the game: communication, leadership, confidence, and how they might help you in the next stages of your life. And the other thing is if you get drops, there are always opportunities to get back into the game. Either as a player at maybe a lower level or in a different country, as a coach, as a sports scientist, there are other opportunities. Don't think that this is the end of the road. Just understand that one door is closed, another one is going to open.
Yeah, now sort of a similar question to the last one. So how would you then advise young players or coaches who are struggling on social media, they've been faced with a lot of abuse and harassment? How would you say for them to sort of push past it?
Yeah, I think people can tend to deal with a lot of adversity, like harassment, in short spells. So if you had a load of harassment over a short period and then it stopped, I think a lot of people are robust enough to deal with that. I think it's when it occurs over an extended period of time. I don't think as humans necessarily we have the capacity to deal with that level of criticism. Our egos get damaged, we start to question who we are, our level of competence, our self-esteem, our self-efficacy. So I think if it gets to the stage where you are really struggling, I don't think there's any harm in coming away from social media until you've developed the strategies that you need in order to cope with whatever vitriol you get in or over social media. I also think you've got a responsibility to report any particular abuse that you might be receiving. I don't think we do that enough. I think we just accept it and move on. I think we could take a proactive role in reporting that abuse. But I also think that we need to think about what our attitudes are to that. You can't really control what people are going to write about you, or what they're going to say, or what opinions they're going to have, unless you come off social media altogether. So if you want to be on social media and use it, you've got to think about the attitude that you're going to adopt to that harassment and how you manage it. But I do think that individuals will have to develop their own coping mechanisms to deal with those things, but also understand that coming away from a short while, gaining a strategy about how you're going to manage those things moving forwards is a great way to go about things.
Perfect, mate. That wraps it up. Thank you for your time.
No problem. My pleasure. Thank you.